Nashlets, and welcome to today's episode of Noshing with Nashies. We are going to make a quick and easy but oh so tasty country gravy. If you head to the description of this video, I'll have multiple ways to make it, but let's head into my kitchen and see how I made this one. All right, Nashlets, I'm going to teach you how to make a quick and easy and oh so tasty sausage country gravy, and you can season it up any way you like. First off, we're going to need a pound of pork sausage, breakfast sausage. We're going to need 2 tablespoons of butter. We're going to need 1/3 cup of flour. We're going to need about 3 cups of milk there. And then for our seasonings, I have a few things. We've got regular salt. Then over here we have some seasoning salt. We also have some Vegeta if you want to use something like that in place of your salt. And then we have some pepper and some garlic powder. Now, how much salt we're going to use is going to depend on how much our sausage salts our gravy. So that's going to be up to you, and I'll tell you how much I put in when I do it. Let's head on over to the stove and start making our country sausage gravy. All right, Nashlets, the first thing we're going to do is get a skillet on our stove here. We're going to preheat it to medium heat, which is 5 on my stove, goes from 1 to 10. We're going to throw in our pork sausage and we are going to break this apart. You can also do this gravy with bacon, but you will most likely have to drain off some of the fat. And if you have to do that, make sure you pour it into a heat-safe container and measure out about 3 tablespoons of your bacon fat, and then you'll have 2 tablespoons of butter as well. So just go ahead and break this up and we will cook it until it is no longer pink. I'll let you watch some of that in fast motion. And Nashlets, always make sure to drain your grease not in your sink or anything like that, because that fat will build up in your pipes. So no bacon grease, no pork fat, no oils, no butters or anything. Don't send those down your sink. That is a very expensive problem later. Also, make sure you are using a tool that is safe for your cookware. If you're using stainless steel, you're all good. But if you're using non-stick, we want wood or we want something silicone coated that can take the heat. Make sure not to use a whisk or a spatula or anything that can melt in high fat. It's been about 5 minutes, Nashlets, and you can see that our pork is no longer pink. Now, at this point, your pork is done, but if you're like me, you like your sausage a little bit on the crispier side. So I'm just going to go ahead and cook this for about 2 or 3 minutes more. You can do that if you like. You don't have to do that. Again, just make sure that your pork is no longer pink and you're good to go. So I'll see you in about 3 minutes for the next portion of our gravy. All right, Nashlets, as you can see, I have gotten my sausage a little bit on the crispier side, a little more brown. That is a personal preference. That's going to be up to you. We're going to come in with about 2 tablespoons of butter and melt that in. I'll let you watch this melt in fast motion. All right, once our butter is melted in, we're going to come in with 1/3 cup of flour, which, to let you know, is about 5 tablespoons and 1 teaspoon of flour roundabout. And we're just going to cook this for a minute to get that flour coated with that fat. This is what creates the magic in thickening up our gravy. And if the gravy is too thick for you, you can go ahead and add more milk at the end of this. And if it's too thin for you, you can do a cornstarch slurry. And I'll explain how to do that in the description, as well as the recipe for this will, of course, be in the description as well. All right, see how that's nice and bubbly? We're still on that medium heat. Give it a nice stir. Make sure everybody's nice and coated. And now we are going to come in with 3 cups of milk. And you can use a whisk for this part. That's perfectly fine. Just make sure, like I said, it's the kind of whisk that can take heat and is not going to ruin the bottom of your pan. All right, let's just keep stirring this until it gets nice and thick. I'll let you watch that in fast motion. All right, Nash, let's see how we are bubbling, and it kind of sticks to the bottom there. Not actually sticks, you can see it comes off clean. But that's when we know our sausage gravy is up to the right temperature. It's bubbling, it's beautifully thick. I'm gonna go ahead and cut my heat back to 3 on my stove so that it continues to bubble a little bit, but it's not gonna burn. Now we're gonna come in and we're gonna taste our gravy because we need to know how much salt to put in this. All right. So, I'm going to go with about 1/4 teaspoon of salt to start with. Just, boop, I'm using seasoning salt. You can use any combination you want. We're going to come in with about 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. Keep stirring. This is a beautifully thick gravy. It smells so good. It tastes so good. Make sure to get that all incorporated. And then we're going to come in with pepper, of course. How much you want to do is up to you. I'm going to do about 1 teaspoon because I like a nice peppery gravy. And we're just going to stir, stir, stir. And then we'll give it one more taste to see if it needs any more salt. Again, usually the salt at the end of this is going to be about 1/4 teaspoon to 1/2 teaspoon, depending on what your personal preference is. And again, if you want a different flavor profile that's still salty, something like Vegeta, which I'm going to do a video on eventually because it's an ingredient I use a lot. Something like that is fantastic. You can use bouillon or things like that as well. All right, one more taste test here. See how thick that is? Isn't that gorgeous? Okay, 1/4 teaspoon of seasoning salt was perfect for me. And there we have our country gravy. All right, Nashlets, here we have our beautifully finished sausage country gravy. This serves wonderfully over things like biscuits or toast. It serves over English muffins. You can do it over mashed potatoes, over rice, over chicken fried steak. You can even put it on eggs if you want. You can serve this over vegetables if you like. It is a really, really versatile recipe. And stay tuned because I will be turning this into something else. Get creative with the seasonings that you put into this. Just watch your salt and get creative with what you use this in and on. Thank you so much for joining me for today's episode of Noshing with Nashies. And remember, when you come to a fork in the road, pick it up and have a nosh with Nashies. And you can stand a fork in this. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Consider becoming a member and check out that amazing recipe video on your screen. I'll see you in the next one, Nashlets. Bye!